We have our models that essentially lead to almost 80 billion daily predictions for our 140 million member base every single day. We have more than 22,000 model deploys every single month. Our founders really wanted to lean in to help you find your way to advancing your financial progress and making this easier without having to pay for information that can be readily available at your fingertips. Before Intuit, I was an academic working on biomedical engineering, using at the time machine learning to extract biomarkers of disease for Alzheimer's. We want to take this to the next level, creating done-for-you experiences for our users, starting to create and alleviate tasks on our users' behalf.
The Data Engineering Show is brought to you by Firebolt, the cloud data warehouse for AI apps and low-latency analytics. Get your free credits and start your trial at firebolt.io.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Data Engineering Show. Today, we're super happy to have Maddie on. Maddie kind of works at Credit Karma. She leads data and AI there. Super great to have you on the show. Do you want to quickly introduce yourself, kind of give us some background on what you're working on and how you got into data?
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here today. Yes, I am Maddie, and I lead data and AI at Credit Karma, Intuit. I've been at the company for about 2.5 years. Here, the team for data and AI consists of AI scientists, machine learning engineers, data practitioners, including data engineers, business intelligence engineers, and the experimentation platform. And this team has been at the genesis of how we engage our members across Credit Karma, which is essentially a financial app that helps you not only advance your credit score, but also find a marketplace of very useful and relevant, highly personalized offers for credit cards, personal loans, or anything that you might be shopping for. And it's enabling you to advance that financial journey that you're on. So for that, the key elements and ingredients of making this app successful is data and AI. So I'm very, very excited to be telling you a bit more about how we built the team and really what are some of the competitive advantages, but also challenges that we are seeing. A bit of background about me: before being at Credit Karma, I was at smaller companies, but also at Meta at some point. And then my first job out of academia was at Intuit. So I kind of came back full circle. And before Intuit, I was an academic working on biomedical engineering, using at the time machine learning to extract biomarkers of disease for Alzheimer's. And I really wanted to essentially, hopefully, see if I can change the path of Alzheimer's in my lifetime. I learned that might not be the case. So I switched into industry where you can see a faster pace of innovation. Ultimately, though, what I'm grounded by is a very consumer-facing mission. So I love helping users like yourselves see the benefit of technology.
That's amazing. And what a wide range of things, seriously. I mean, going kind of from biotech, kind of smaller companies, bigger companies. Very, very cool. So maybe before we dive into the data and tech stack and kind of your teams, we have a lot of listeners from kind of across the globe. I'm sure many of our US listeners, or virtually everyone, will know about Credit Karma and also Intuit. Do we maybe want to give a 1-minute kind of background for every kind of listener who has not heard of these companies in the past? Kind of, what they're all about, kind of what your products enable?
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe starting with Credit Karma, which is again, a financial product that enables you to check your credit score for free. And that was the genesis of Credit Karma from maybe more than 10 years ago, when our founders really wanted to lean in to help you find your way to advancing your financial progress and making this easier without having to pay for information that can be readily available at your fingertips. Now, of course, credit scores, you can find them on a wide range of apps. So we've evolved that journey of our products to fully personalizing with highly relevant machine learning models that enable you to make the right decisions given what you need in your financial journey. Say that you might want to change or evolve your credit score you might need very different types of support, either consolidating your debt or finding ways to save money that are different from people who might have a very different financial goal. So that's Credit Karma. Now we are part of Intuit. So the beauty of essentially journey that we are on is that we can combine credit scores from Credit Karma with people who want to do their taxes on TurboTax. So TurboTax is also a very successful product that has been providing a lot of customers across the globe, but especially in the US, the ability to do your taxes also in a very personalized way. So think of it this way. Credit Karma is almost a front door to TurboTax. And one thing that we are doing at Intuit right now as part of what we call this consumer ecosystem is building synergies and personalization and seamlessness across Credit Karma and TurboTax such that we can fully understand you as a user as you traverse these products. And that is really what's behind what I believe is one of our biggest competitive advantages as a company.
Awesome, cool. So let's start chatting about the data stack, right? It's kind of like, how big are your teams? How are maybe they structured? What types of data do you bring in? Kind of what pieces of software do you have in your tech stack? We'd love to learn more.
Yeah, absolutely. So my team specifically is about 100 people, but we do have over 800 engineers that are part of Credit Karma. So it's very, very engineering heavy. And we essentially build a engineering first mindset from the genesis of the company to how we operate our teams. Specifically for my team, as mentioned, we have AI scientists, which are about a third of my team. And then we have machine learning engineers, as well as data experts who build a platform that enables us to run the training for machine learning, but also facilitate the deployment of those. And then I have a third of the team that is more data practitioners for business intelligence, as well as the experimentation platform. Credit Karma is very specifically a Google Cloud infrastructure. They transitioned to this a while back. So think of it this way. BigQuery is our data warehouse. We use Bigtable for our operational serving layer. And we ingest large information from the financial institutions that we work with, from our partners that we work with every single day. So we have and we process and transform multiple terabytes of information daily for our 140 million members every single day. So that's a very exciting large data set to have our hands on and be able to provide personalized information for. So of course,
the only problem is BigQuery. The only problem here, everything is perfect. The stack is amazing. Everyone, participants, everything, but just BigQuery. Come on, we need more spice. Can't have BigQuery solve all problems. Just kidding. Go on.
It's not. It's certainly not solving all problems. It's something that we have learned to essentially ensure we build holistically for the company. Nonetheless, we are very much focused on using Google as an infrastructure. Having said that, we also are focused on multi-cloud integrations because Intuit is an AWS shop. So we are essentially, when you think about the TurboTax products, but also a wider range of products that Intuit has, they are in AWS. So we have to be oftentimes cloud-agnostic to be able to facilitate the integration of our product and serve our members effectively across end-to-end consumer ecosystems.
Now, one thing I'm curious about looking at kind of your utilization of BigQuery is most of your analytics internal and kind of batch-based. So let's say every 6 hours you refresh kind of credit scores and do some predictions, and then you expose it back to customer? Or there's also that kind of customer-facing, almost real-time analytics challenge, where if I'm a customer of Credit Karma or kind of other Intuit products, I log onto the app, kind of go onto the website, and can kind of consume my data kind of directly in a live way with kind of customized, kind of take us through that internal versus external part of your data stack.
Yeah, so it's both. We have both streaming and batch pipelines, depending on the financial institutions that we serve, or depending on the data sources, the patterns are different. But say that you as a user log into Credit Karma and your credit score has changed. As soon as we learn that the credit score has changed, we update that in as freshly as possible. So you can see the most recent information within the app versus waiting for, say, a batch pipeline design that might take weeks or months to update. So when it comes to that, we are trying to be very timely. We're providing you information that is relevant. Similarly, if our partners change, say, certain aspects about their offerings, an APR changes, or similar, we also update that information as quickly as we learn so that users, again, get access to the latest, most important information to make the best decision for themselves.
That last mile customer-facing journey is also done on BigQuery, or you basically start exporting into some other systems at that point?
So, for instance, one of the big table is where we use as our operational serving layer. And also we have something called Alchemy, which is our online feature store, which also uses BigQuery and Vertex AI so that we can do transformations in real time and aggregations of information and enable you to see derivations of the data in real time within the app. And more importantly, what we use this for is ultimately fueling our machine learning models. So on top of our data, which I believe is not nearly as powerful if you don't really have that AI intelligence layer, we have our models that essentially lead to almost 80 billion daily predictions for our 140 million member base every single day. We have more than 22,000 model deploys every single month, so we can refresh and personalize the models so that we can meet our members where they're at. So for that also, we use Alchemy, which is again our feature store, to be able to personalize that experience.
Super, super impressive scale and kind of very, very nice stack. I'm curious about the ML side of things, because I assume that kind of here, what types of, obviously, I'm sure you can't go into all the details, but what types of models do you actually kind of train, right? Because especially in the finance space, things it's heavily regulated, of course, kind of there's kind of explainability, fairness of models, and all of that really matters. So it would be super interesting to learn about some of your experience there.
Absolutely. So let me break that down in two ways. One is the machine learning stack, which is our bread and butter and that would be traditional AI. And then we can talk about GenAI too, which I think is very relevant and also important to discuss. So for machine learning and traditional AI, our bread and butter is recommendation models. And that includes essentially ranking and personalization of, say, an offer, either within the app or a marketing channel. So we have hundreds of those models that enable us to ultimately deliver the right experience for our users. And within those, of course, we have to be very cognizant of information that we can and cannot show based on compliance, as we are in a highly regulated space. Now, having said that, where compliance, for instance, especially as it pertains to our partners, comes into play is when it comes to GenAI, which, unlike traditional AI, is non-deterministic. Right. So oftentimes what we do, and we've seen a lot of success with, especially at Credit Karma, is using traditional ML and pairing that with GenAI for contextualization, explainability purposes. So when we show you an offer for, say, a credit card or a loan, we have something called CY, which explains why are we showing you this particular offer such that we can build trust with the user, but also educate on whether or not they should consider opening or taking that particular offer. Now, when it comes to essentially, say, features like CY that contains more context about the offer, we have to be very thoughtful about the benefits that oftentimes pertain to our partners, that they are represented with 100% accuracy. So that's where we invest tremendous effort into evaluation platforms so that we make sure that everything is 100% accurate before we roll it out to users.
Awesome. Super interesting. And then if you look ahead, kind of both on the data and then also the ML side, so you already mentioned you folks are kind of pulling the products closer together. Is if you think about 2026, what are the challenges you're most excited about, the things you really want to drive? Yeah, it would be interesting to hear that.
So I will say that one of the biggest things that we are tackling right now, especially more than 2 years into adopting GenAI and seeing some great success in contextualization, we want to take this to the next level. So Intuit as a whole believes, and I truly believe this is tremendously valuable in creating done-for-you experiences for our users. And what that really means is starting to create and and alleviate tasks on our users' behalf. Last week, we announced something called the debt agent, which is helping you consolidate that or find options to manage that debt and taking some actions on your behalf. Now, none of this, honestly, is easily done without having and building an agentic data layer. So that's one of the biggest, I think, revelations that not only we are seeing as a company, but also many other companies are seeing, where if you don't structure your data in a semantically well-structured way, you are not likely able to provide the most highly relevant and personalized experiences for users. So especially because we are part of Intuit and we are part of a broader consumer ecosystem group, one thing that we've been building in the last year or so is called a unified consumer profile. And we started this as part of a hackathon. We love doing hackathons here at least twice a year, where we really wanted to get to the bottom of how can we create a semantic graph that depicts a financial journey for a user, and almost think of it as a tree format, such that entities like debt can be well explained by attributes like balance or interest, and being able to essentially contextualize that and serve it in a highly accurate, real-time and consistent way across Credit Karma and TurboTax. And that is ultimately what I believe is one of the biggest unlocks to being able to serve a very personalized experience, at least from a user-facing perspective when it comes to GenAI, but also for a wide range of other products, AI in general, but also other product capabilities. So I believe if we don't invest in agentic data layers, may that be user-facing or maybe context-facing, in-session-facing, then we will not really be able to truly unlock what we can do, especially with generative AI that contains either small or large language models that really need that contextualization to be able to be relevant.
Okay, and then kind of that basically agentic layer, what is the tech stack for that, kind of, if I may ask? Because that's obviously then across your product lines, so it would be interesting, yeah.
Absolutely. So that is ultimately based in AWS, and it is something that we are building once more in, as possible, a cloud-agnostic way, but it is part of the broader Intuit stack, which, as mentioned earlier, is AWS-based. So we are utilizing a lot of the capabilities that Intuit has put in place to be able to ingest the data into AWS, to be able to serve the data in real time, as both Credit Karma, which is, again, on Google, and TurboTax, which is on AWS, ingest or serve this information in real time.
Cool. Eldad, any questions from your side? Anything you're curious about?
Intuit, I know Intuit. Most of us know Intuit. Back in the days, right? So there are people who used to manage their taxes on the Intuit platform, switching products, kind of evolving with Intuit. And now kind of AI gets context out of all of those systems into one place, and then getting crazy, amazing experience no matter which app you're using. For me, Intuit was always about the software, but apparently it's not. So it's all now about AI and the data. And Intuit knows us, right? If you've been running your taxes on Intuit for so long, then you probably get a much better experience continuing to use it because they have the right data. So it's super interesting to see kind of how those platforms evolve and kind of how crazy value you're getting out of them.
I'm glad that you're saying that, and thank you for being an Intuit user. Indeed, it's been a tremendous journey, and I've seen this for many years. I was back at Intuit more than 7 years ago, and now here again. One of the core components of what you're describing is something called the Generative AI operating system, which Intuit has been investing in tremendously over the last few years, that also helps fuel and democratize how we use GenAI across Intuit. So Credit Karma or TurboTax or any other subsidiary of Intuit can tap into this centralized platform and really democratize and adopt GenAI at scale within its product. And those are the types of examples really that enable us to move fast and continuously disrupt ourselves, especially in the age of AI.
So, Maddie, Benjamin, as we all know now, he just recently moved to the Bay Area, and coming out of Munich, he is not acquainted with the whole world of taxes, tax management, and tax education. So I hope that with AI, Benjamin will get a very different experiences and kind of new onboarded user into the Intuit platform, Benjamin.
That's the goal. I hope Benjamin, you use Credit Karma to build your credit score and credit history, and then use that as an entry point into TurboTax, where we can serve you no matter what the complexity of your tax background is. So hopefully you take advantage of that.
Sounds good. I'll let you know how it goes, and yeah, kind of excited to learn about this new world. It's like moving to the US, kind of like coming from like a just different country, right? Like it's a lot to take in the beginning, and kind of a lot of things you need to learn about, kind of a lot of new systems you need to understand. It's going to be a fun time, basically onboarding into all of that.
But now when you look to Intuit, you're having a conversation. Think about it. Like previously you had to learn how to use the UI. Like 10 years ago, like that was the challenge. Intuit was protecting you from writing the wrong stuff into your tax process journey. Now it's planning stuff. It's thinking for you. It's finessing all of those rough edges. So Maddie, it's fascinating to hear about it. We look forward to see where and how it evolves. And it's crazy to see so many engineers are working fearlessly behind the scenes to get that painful process so smooth. What can I say? Well done.
Thank you so much. I'm glad. And thank you for the kind words. And Benjamin, let us know how we can help you in your financial journey and tax journey. And it's a pleasure speaking with you today.
Awesome. Thank you. It was great having you on the show. Kind of thank you so much. All the best, and looking forward to staying in touch.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Bye.
Take care.
The Data Engineering Show is brought to you by Firebolt, the cloud data warehouse for AI apps and low latency analytics. Get your free credits and start your trial at firebolt.io.